matchup at 174 lived up to the hype that we discussed at the top.
That it did, and you know what that does is that just kind of sets up for an even bigger March matchup here with these two. If somehow maybe that's a semifinal at the MAC tournament, I could see that.
Yeah.
And that's, that was a gritty, good match there on both guys. I don't know that Nivison walks away too upset with that.
Yeah.
I think from Stutzman's standpoint, everything went perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, we did exactly what we were supposed to. Now what do? We're going to throw in one or two more attacks, and we take the stall call off us.
Were you surprised by not seeing a takedown in that one?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. That's exactly what I thought I would see. And that's why I thought we would see overtime maybe. I didn't factor in the stall call. As we say that, Kranitz going to go ahead and go out and get himself a takedown here over Bobby Gaylord in the first period, as Buffalo now up 18-6, as we did have that team point deduction there in that last match.
Yeah, so at 184, Chase Kranitz, the redshirt freshman for Buffalo, and Bobby Gaylord, the redshirt sophomore for Ohio. Gaylord in place of Zane Lehman, who is ranked 24th in the NCAA Coaches Poll, but sitting this one out this weekend.
Chase Kranitz seems like a familiar name to me, so he's a PA guy there. Not sure, probably a little bit young for me, but might have some wrestling in the family, as we see a little bit of a flurry there when we're chest to chest here with Kranitz back to the out of bounds line.
Kranitz bumped up to the 184 weight class, according to his head coach, John Stutzman. And John Stutzman said if he is on his attack, then he is really hard to beat. We don't want him standing around a lot. We want him to be aggressive.
Yeah, so maybe you got a little bit of a two lighter 184-pounders. I know Gaylord, I wrestled Bobby at 165 there for a little bit while I was on the team still, so I would assume he's probably still a 74-pounder. But, one of those guys that when coach calls on you, and especially in this dual format, it's kind of next man up. Rather that means you bump up a weight class or, you literally physically just step up. But so interesting little piece there that both these guys might be a little bit undersized, meaning probably more so comparable.
18-6 lead for Buffalo. Ohio's wins coming from Peyton Keller with a pin at 157, and then just recently Sal Perrine win by decision. As we look at a takedown from Chase Kranitz, it's his second one in this matchup.
Yeah, and I think we're actually probably about to see Buffalo's best wrestler here with Sam Mitchell coming up.
Yeah, he's a leader.
He definitely wrestles a lot on even a freestyle and senior level national scene, and he's done really well in some big events. So it'll be interesting to see where he's kind of at in, late February heading into March as a senior, I'm sure.
Yeah, coming up next at 197, Austin Starr for Ohio and Sam Mitchell for Buffalo. And then at the heavyweight to close things out, Jordan Greer for Ohio and Linnell Owens-Pabon for Buffalo.
That's a fun last name, isn't it?
It is. And he's a fun wrestler to watch, according to John Stutzman. We'll have more on that as we get to our heavyweight matchup to wrap up the night.
Yeah, I think, so far we've seen in this duel, big piece being that Buffalo has done the one thing that not many teams have been able to do this year with the Bobcats, and that's negate the big points, the big 6-point pens. Buffalo got their own tonight, right? That's, I think, been the biggest difference maker is not only have they gotten their wins maybe where they were favored, but where they weren't favored, they tightened down a little bit more than we've seen other teams thus far this year. We're going to get a caution there off the bottom man again. So Buffalo definitely quick off the whistle. We've seen a handful of cautions on their guys only off the bottom. So as a young kid out there, pay attention to that, man. Get off the bottom as quick as you can. These quick starts right off the whistle, that makes a difference. And that's really important as you see Kranitz immediately to his feet. Gaylord tries to go claw lift, but...
Yeah, tried to grab that right leg, but Kranitz gets the escape. And has the riding time in his favor right now.
I also think that just kind of sends a little bit of a message, right? When you get on top of a guy and he's jumping the whistle because he's that excited to, get off the bottom or he's ready to wrestle, that that's a little bit more of a mental toll, I think. So I like that they're out of Chase Kranitz, ready to go off the whistle. If you're Gaylord here, you've got this belly-to-belly situation. Maybe try to get to an inside trip. He's kind of, looks like he wants to wrestle from space a little bit more. Rather that be, he has to get some level changes going and fire off an attack from space, or really has to get in and just kind of move Kranitz baseline defense. But as I say that, Kranitz with a neck wrench off of a bad shot attempt, and that is tight.
Wow, look at him hold that, and there it is, a pin.
And Sam, I might have foreshadowed that one. As I mentioned, the Bobcats haven't been able to find the big point wins tonight. For the second time tonight, Buffalo goes out and gets a pin. They've got a major decision. That really being the big difference we've seen thus far.
So Chase Kranitz takes care of business with this pin on Bobby Gaylord. It's all Buffalo here this evening. 197 coming up next on ESPN+.